like a god, and it was embarrassing that the mainstream media did that, but they did. And dishonesty, my God, there's so many things Obama lied about. First he heard of the IRS scandal in the papers, my God, that's a BS. He gave the orders. Everyone knows he gave the orders. He used the IRS as a weapon. He lied constantly when it came to Obamacare, many times over, several different times over, and his lackey Gruber stepped up to the plate and said, good thing you, the American voter, is a moron and don't remember these things because, the President Barry he'll take care of us. He's smarter than you and I, smarter than you and I. He will take care of us, and good to go. But so that's how the article starts out. And then it goes on, quote, the Times called him unprepared and unsuited for a job he was seeking and said his election would be a catastrophe. Okay, let's unprepared and unsuited. Who was the most unprepared person ever elected president? Once again, Barack Obama. You would not hire this man to general manage a Dairy Queen store with his background. He had zero experience in anything except, releasing the divorce records of a campaign of a candidate he wasn't running against in Chicago and destroying the man's personal life, and then getting elected because of his charm and good looks. And apparently he can speak eloquently for a black man because black people can't speak eloquently, according to the left. Whatever. But anyway, so he was in the Senate for about a day and a half, and then they decided he was the golden child and he was going to run for president. So unprepared, absolutely 100%. They, of course, LA Times would never say that about President Obama, but they said about Trump, no problem. Unsuited, according to who? He fits every qualification that the Constitution requires to become president. And we're going to go on from there. Quote, still nothing prepared us for the magnitude of this train wreck. Train wreck. My opinion here, sorry, unquote. Train wreck. He's doing everything he said he did. The train wreck are the Democrats flinging monkey poop at the wall, hoping something will stick. And now it's coming back to haunt them. They're trying to throw out accusations of, he collaborated with the Russians. Well, it turns out today, old Susan Rice, I'm going to lie about the Benghazi video 7 different times on national TV to cover Barack Obama's behind. And now she was out on March 22nd saying, after Nunes, I think his name is, basically said someone in the administration unveiled these Americans caught up in taping of diplomats and stuff. Said she first time Susan has heard of the old unmasking, and it comes to fruition today. Oh, absolutely, she was the person doing the unmasking, and the mainstream media at times had called her Mr. Obama's right-hand woman, so to speak. Although I would say the Muslim Valerie Jarrett was the one who was actually his right-hand person, but I digress. So who do you think she got her orders from? Who would want to spy on Donald Trump? President Barack Obama, who happens to be on an island right now somewhere in Tahiti, a very private island that you and I could not go to, but Barry gets invited because he's a special dude. And 52 men. As far as I know, not one woman on that island right now, which is another story, but let's go on to that. So here's the LA Times going on. I'm going to start from the beginning of that paragraph. Still, nothing prepared us for this magnitude of this train wreck. Like millions of other Americans, we clung to a slim hope that the new president would turn out to be all noise and bluster, or that the people around him in the White House would act as a check on his worst instincts, or that he would be sobered and transformed by the awesome responsibilities of office. End quote. Do you think for a second the LA Times clung to any kind of hope that this man would succeed? Absolutely not. They wanted him to fail from day one. They're pushing their agenda down our goddamn throats just to make sure that he tries to fail. And besides all their, monkey poop throwing feces hitting the wall, they're not making anything stick to this president because him and people in his administration have done nothing wrong. And then goes on. Instead, 70-some days in, and with about 1,400 to go before his term is completed, it is increasingly clear that those hopes were misplaced. You didn't have hopes, LA Times. Sorry to disappoint you there. Going on, quote, in a matter of weeks, President Trump has taken dozens of real-life steps that, if they are not reversed, they will rip families apart, foul rivers and pollute the air, intensify the calamitous effects of climate change, and profoundly weaken the system of American public education for all. Unquote. Let's start with the last one. American public education is in the shithole. They get thrown more money at it every year. Every year they need more money, and we're still in the shithole. It's the worst education system in the developed world, most likely, and it's god awful, and it should be blown up and started over instead of run by unions and Democrats, because Democrats couldn't run a one-car parade, as I've said before, to quote a well-spoken, I forgot what they call them, whatever. Okay, the other step, calamitous effects of climate change. Big hoax. Check it out, Noah. They lie about the data all the time. They change the data. They make up data when there's no weather stations to forecast. They're going to release these documents on the exchanges between these people, and the scientists are freaked out because the only way you got money in the Obama administration for tests and studies and stuff is if you said, "How will climate change affect the taste of lollipops?" Ooh, you're going to get $500,000 to research that. If it didn't have the word "How will climate change affect" in it, you weren't going to get that grant. So this thing is a big hoax. All they want to do is take your money. Al Gore gets fatter and fatter, and he keeps, spewing this bile that he says about, the reason the reason England left the EU and Brexit was because of climate change. You idiots! You didn't know that? Al Gore said so. And he wants to rip families apart. The Democrats have done that so well in the past 50 years with welfare state that I don't know how anyone could get better than them, but there you go. Foul rivers and pollute the air. You mean get rid of the EPA, who is forcing their laws down our throat that they did not write through regulations and fines? My God, let's. No one wants dirty rivers, dirty air, dirty water. No one. But that's what they always throw at you when they have nothing else. All right, here's another quote. His attempt to de-insure millions of people who had finally received healthcare coverage. Finally, oh my God, I'm going off base here. Thank God, people were finally covered. Oh wait, there's still 20 million not covered. That's right. And he didn't attempt to do anything. Laws have to be placed through Congress. So he wanted to pass the Ryan bill, which frankly I was not for. Let's just rip Obamacare out by the roots and start over. Let's go from there. And then, quote, let's go on again. An act of massive transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich has been put on hold for the moment, end quote. I'm sorry, fellas. If you're going to try to get rich off money from the poor, it's not going to work real well. They don't have the money. I'd go after the middle class, which is what Democrats do. They just pummel us to death. And, the rich aren't as evil as the government. I can choose to shop at Walmart and give it to rich people, or I can choose not to, or I can choose to go to Target, or I can choose not to. I can't choose to give it to the government. They'll come and put me in jail. They'll take it at me with the barrel of a gun. And then he's going to defang, sorry, I'm going to quote here again. But he is proceeding with his efforts to defang the government's regulatory agencies and bloat the Pentagon's budget, even as he supposedly retreats from the global stage, unquote. Isn't that beautiful? He's going to bloat the Pentagon's budget. HUD had like $570 billion of money they couldn't account for when Dr. Ben Carson took office and as the head of HUD. It's embarrassing. Every agency under Obama has been bloated. Government has expanded under Obama. It's been bloated. Let's cut it down. Let's cut government down to size. I think 20% maybe. I'd go smaller, but I know that's asking for much. I'd probably want 15% in the end, but whatever. Anyways, that's it. Let's go on to the next thing. I'm not going to read too much more here. Quote, these are immensely dangerous developments which threaten to weaken this country's moral standing in the world, unquote. Barry lost all moral standing in the world all by his lonesome. His Arab Spring was a flop. Every country he's touched, which he's went into and tried to, use his beautiful words to coerce them into thinking his way. Everything he touched went from gold to a shining turd. You can't get much worse than that, and the world didn't respect us. My God, they thought President Obama was the worst president and that they had ever seen in their lifetime, and certainly they were correct. And I'm going to go on from here. So they're going to weaken this country's moral standing in the world, quote, imperil the planet and reverse years of slow but steady gains by marginalized or impoverished Americans, unquote. slow but steady gains. You know, by every accounting, you know, 990 million people unemployed. How is that helping anyone? 90 million people on food stamps. This is embarrassing. Obama did absolutely zero for this economy, zero for people, and they go on. But chilling as they are, these radically wrong-headed policy choices are not, in fact, the most frightening aspect of the Trump presidency. Don't you love it? Oh my God. Going back to the Constitution is wrong-headed, and it's radically wrong-headed. Here we go. Here's the we're getting to the money shot, and I think someone at the Times got a thesaurus. Good job, fellas. You use words really good. I'm proud of you. Here we go. Quote, what is most worrisome about Trump is Trump himself. He is a man so unpredictable, so reckless, so petulant, so full of blind self regard, so untethered to reality that is it impossible to know where his presidency will lead or how much damage he will do our nation. Unquote. Funny. He doesn't know. He's untethered to reality, huh? You guys all predicted Clinton would win and win big, and Trump didn't have a chance. But you're telling me what reality is, huh? I predicted Trump would win. Every one of my friends thought I was an idiot, and I am. You know, they all thought I was an idiot. I predicted Trump would win up to the day he was elected. I knew the polls were rigged. I could see that they were oversampling Democrats. When I showed up to see Trump at the airport, there's 20,000 people there. I'm sorry, 15,000 people inside, 20,000 people inside the hangar, about 20 hanging outside on an event that had 2 days notice. Never seen anything unlike it in my life. And Hillary was drawn about 4 people. And to tell me he wasn't going to win is a joke. You know, he was the most tethered in reality of any candidate out there. Um, he's definitely not unpredictable, reckless, or petulant. He's a businessman. You know, they said he wouldn't show tax returns because he was broke and he wasn't making money, and he didn't pay taxes. And they got one from a few years ago. And my God, he makes money and he makes taxes, and it goes on from there. And if anything, the LA Times is the one that's full of shit, full of self regard, full of untethered to reality.